We report here extensively about the efforts to stifle free speech in this country. A provocative documentary charges that First Amendment rights are being stifled on college campuses all of the time, and only liberal voices being allowed to be heard. Conservative voices, well, they're trying to crush them. Here is, for example, what one professor at the Massachusetts School of Art had to say about the white race.
Whiteness is a form of racial oppression, sure. The suggestion is that it is somehow possible to separate whiteness from oppression, and it is not. There can be no white race without the phenomenon of white supremacy. If you abolish slavery, you abolish slaveholders. In the same way, if you abolish racial oppression, you do away with whiteness. Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
You know, I've got to say, Coyne Maloney, who is the director of Indoctrinate U, you know, I've got to say, Evan, that by any standard, that professor is a madman.
Well, and you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to include it in the film wasn't so much to criticize him for what he's saying. I think that's self-evident. But really to say that that's the kind of speech that's welcome on campus when much more mild speech from a different perspective is routinely suppressed.
Yeah, you know, something that you illustrated, and I can't remember the name of the young man, I believe it was at Cal Poly. I mean, this young man was hounded for absolutely nothing but putting up a poster of the title of a book, which, by the way, you did a remarkable job with whatever the title of that bureaucratic moron was, as you were trying to talk with the president of the school. He was hounded for months.
18 months. 18 months of his life. It had to go to federal court just for hanging a flyer announcing a speaker who was coming to talk about his book.
He recovered the legal fees. I know that. Did he ever get an apology from the institution?
No, he never did, and that was part of the legal settlement. The school never wants to admit that they were wrong. I mean, it's plain to you and me that they were wrong.
What is the full name of the school?
That's Cal Poly, California Polytechnic, and it's a public university, so the taxpayers of California ended up footing the bill for his legal fees.
Let me say this to Cal Polytechnic, to the president, who apparently never would talk with you. I just want to say something to that president. You, sir, are a coward and a fool. And as far as I'm concerned, just this side of a fascist. But the cowardly foolishness is the part that really should bother you, because you're on a university with impressionable young minds, as you document so well, and minds that are growing and should have a number of voices, a diversity of ideas, as you point out in your terrific documentary, on in the marketplace of ideas. I mean, how can institutions justify this kind of behavior?
Well, you know, it seems to happen whenever a community of people begins to think so much alike. They can't take it when other voices come in and start challenging the dominant thinking. And that's what we found time and time again. A groupthink sets in, and they begin to stifle other voices. And so now universities all over the country have speech codes that they routinely use to stifle voices that run counter to the ideological dominant thinking on campus.
You know, let's go to, you know, as a college student at Bucknell, you were the editor of a political opinion paper, which you say was routinely stolen because it represented conservative viewpoints. In your film, Vanessa Weissman, who is a UC Berkeley student, talks about her experience while distributing that school's conservative publication.
The very first time Vanessa handed out The Patriot, she found out just how tolerant her fellow Berkeley students could be.
The woman approached me. She was clearly not too happy, but it was my first time passing it out, so I was excited. I come up to her, smile, and offer her a Cal Patriot. She blows her stack at that point and just hawks a loogie at me. There were 2 other times people attempted to spit on me that day, too.
You know, I happen to be one of those folks who remember when Berkeley was the bastion of free dissent in this country, expression against, you know, the political order. To see that sort of thing today is, I mean, that's nauseating.
Well, that's the irony of it. The campus free speech movement started at Berkeley and Columbia in the late 60s, and they fought for a lot of the same ideas. The folks running the universities now are a lot of the people who were fighting for free speech then. So it's ironic now that they're fighting against the free speech of students today.
You know, it's amazing. You also cite examples where the protests against the Army, recruiting Army Corps of Engineers. I mean, that's sad. And it's sad that we are permitting this in this society. There's no movement in Congress to deal with this issue. You talk about 200 administrators, university administrators who didn't even have the intellectual or moral or principle or courage to talk with you. It's extraordinary. The documentary is Indoctrinate U. I can't recommend it highly enough. Indoctrinate U. Evan, we thank you for being here. We want you to go to our website, loudobbs.com, which will give you a link straight to your website there to get and I got to tell you, get this documentary. It's extraordinary and certainly worth your time. Evan, thank you very much. Come back soon.
Thanks a lot.
Up next.